down on what's on nutrition, which hopefully will be very beneficial for our viewers and give them a starting point. This is actually well overdue, because I mean the site started off in that way, and we still didn't manage to get a nutritionist. So welcome, so happy to have you. Wanted to see you today.
Well, thank you, David, for asking me to provide some information for your website. Nutrition, as we know, for many years the emphasis has been on eating lots of grains and carbohydrates and eliminating fats. But however, we're seeing a society now which is plagued with obesity and diabetes, and
Absolutely.
Experts are even saying that we'll probably be able to expect the first generation to predecease its parents, which is quite sad.
So good thing, yeah.
In the notes accompanying the video on your website, people will be able to read about changes that have taken place to the food pyramid. Now the emphasis is on adequate exercise and intake of water, but the most important nutrients should be obtained from vegetables and then from the quality proteins, followed by fruit and nuts, and then the grains quite minimally. Carbohydrates actually turn to sugar in our bodies, and which are then turned to fat. So carbohydrates can lead to fat accumulation within the body. The drive for the no-fat, low-fat and fat-free products has actually led to products being higher in carbohydrates.
That's a good point, what you're mentioning that, because I've heard that's indeed the case. Yeah.
And also our body needs fats, but it needs good fats. And the information out there should be geared more towards the difference between the good and the bad, so that people will be able to differentiate for themselves. We need fats for our cell membranes. Every cell membrane has a double wall which is made of fat. Our hormones are made of fat, specifically cholesterol. So cholesterol is actually an important part of our body system. So we need to be careful with all the cholesterol lowering medication as well. So we need to be aware of these things. Also the omega-3 fats are very important. We need both omega-3 and omega-6, and omega-6 we get from our vegetable oils, as long as they are in liquid format, cold pressed and extra virgin, and olive oil is the best example there. But the omega-3s are only available from seafood, from cold water fish, and we need to have those in our diet. Oftentimes our diet isn't providing enough of the omega-3s, in which case we need to supplement. But again, we need to be aware of quality supplements, of pureness in the oil, so we need to read labels and shop around, and the cheapest isn't necessarily always the best.
Yeah, I've made a note of that myself. It's usually what's it like, I believe that looking for actual food items, what's within the vitamin, rather than just if it says like vitamin C, doesn't necessarily, because vitamin C apparently, well, just an example, is a very complex chain, isn't it? And they might be just be getting like something like a ascorbic acid or something.
That's right. Because vitamin C in nature, in a citrus fruit, incorporates the fruit as well as the pith, and the pith is what is called bioflavonoids. So when you're purchasing your vitamin C to supplement with, it should have the ascorbic acid, but then also your sodium ascorbate, potassium ascorbate, calcium ascorbates, which then make it into a neutral rather than an acidic supplement. And then it also has to include your bioflavonoids, your rutin, your quercetin. So it has to be an all-rounder. Then the other issue with vitamin C is when the adverts say, yeah, this is 1,000 milligrams in a tablet of vitamin C, but your body can only ever absorb 300 milligrams in one dose. So you're better off getting powder, which you can dose small amounts regularly throughout the day, or even pop a teaspoon in your water bottle and drink it over a few hours.
So if you take too much of vitamin C, it just ends up as waste anyway.
That's right.
Your body just uses what it needs.
Your body uses what it needs. It's water soluble, so it can't accumulate. But if you have too much vitamin C, it puts undue stress on your kidneys.
Right.
And it can also cause diarrhea. And it just depends on your body's tolerance. Also, you have to note that there are some cultural groups that can't tolerate vitamin C. So you're looking at the Asians, you're looking at indigenous Aboriginals, and Sephardic Jews and Arabs. They have a problem with actually metabolizing vitamin C supplements. So it's not just a case of, oh, this is good for everybody. It's not the case.
And it's not a case of one fits all.
No, no. Well, no, because every individual body is unique. It responds differently and it has unique needs, and that's where the role of the qualified practitioner comes in, to identify those individual needs and to treat that person individually, because that's the only way you'll get real success and ongoing health.
All right. So what is it that people mainly come to, or clients mainly come to you with, what they're looking for?
It varies. They all look for health, look
Yeah.
to be pain-free, looking to have more energy. But I have clients as young as a few months old, ranging up to 82 years of age. So I have quite a broad spectrum of clients, and I see myself more in the role of being a family naturopath rather than a naturopath that just specialises in one area. A common area, of course, in all that is the nutrition and the body's ability to absorb the foods that they eat, and that then comes back to gut function. And when I talk of gut, I usually refer to the small and the large intestines, and that's put under a lot of stress with our modern day lifestyle. We have alcohol, we have medication, the oral contraceptive pill, and even stress plays a huge role on the ability of our gut to cope and to function properly. So also, some of the conditions that have now been scientifically proven to originate from gut dysbiosis are things like alkalizing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel and diverticular disease, diarrhea and constipation, poor immunity, even chronic skin disorders, and they've even gone so far as to suggest that breast and colon cancer originate from improper gut function. And more recently, scientists are investigating the role of the gut in autism. So the gut is very important, and so is gut health. So that's another major aspect, which is where the HemoView, the live blood screening, is very useful, because it allows us to look inside the body and see what the health of the gut is, and then treat the cause of what's causing all the issues.
Right. I have heard that there's more gut flora than there are cells.
Yes, there are. There are absolutely billions per gram within our insides, but they have to be the right kind of bacteria, and they have to be in the right proportion. So when we take antibiotics, because antibiotics attack bacteria, they don't differentiate. So we can lose a lot of our good bacteria, enabling the bad bacteria to take over, and then it's a bit of an effort to pull all that back into sync again. So looking after your gut can go a long way to being healthy and having energy.
There's a chance of getting a little bit of an overview of the
HemoView.
The HemoView, yeah.
Yes, you can have a look on the screen. So you see a white blood cell there.
Yeah, focusing on that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else we can find in here for you.
And these, as we say, these are all individual?
These are all red blood cells. They have been on the slide for a while, so they're showing oxidative damage. So you see how the outside of the red blood cell becomes quite jagged.
Ah, yeah. Is that was it hydration? Is it dehydration of some sort? Is it? Or?
No, it's actually the red blood cell dying. As I said, these have been on the slide for a while. But if we see this in a fresh slide, it would indicate that the person has oxidative damage, so has a high need for antioxidants and for membrane support. And even though with the HemoView we're only looking at the red blood cells, it will give us an indication of the integrity of the other cells throughout the body.
Right. Some look a little bit healthier there.
They do. And then we have the different types of white blood cells. There's a neutrophil there. We can see the different types, looking at those in relation to each other. Doing a count, we can see whether they're viable, whether they're healthy and doing their job, whether the body is responding to a bacterial or a viral infection, whether we have an allergy happening. We can see a lot of things just by the number of white blood cells that are present. So the HemoView can tell us a lot about what's happening in the body and also help us to treat very precisely.
All right. So what's the main starting point? What's it when someone client comes to you?
We usually start with a very comprehensive case history, their health history, what's gone on in the past, what they're actually here for, and then we use various assessment techniques. The HemoView is one such technique. I also use the iridology, the iris analysis, tongue and nail analysis. If somebody has, depending on what kind of condition, we might incorporate saliva testing, and we send that away to pathology. Incorporate the blood tests and pathology testing that their medical practitioner may have undertaken. So it's like finding a lot of different aspects of their health and putting it together like a puzzle to get a picture of what's happening within that person, and then treating the underlying cause rather than just relieving the symptoms.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Yep.
Yep. All right, thanks so much for that, Dagmar. It's most informative.
Thank you.
And
Pleasure.
yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks, David.
Bye.